I want to go over three things that are very helpful for the artist, the motivational. Okay, the first is going to museums. Why? Museums are what you might call your contemporaries. Okay, these are original artworks by people who are a lot of times are household names from this generation, last generation, 100 years ago, 500 years ago. But here you're seeing their original works, handmade, created, and they're real. And you get it in your mind that this can happen with your work. Okay? The second thing that's very motivational is auction catalogs. You can buy used auction catalogs randomly. I was going to Strand Bookstore in Manhattan where they had what they call miles and miles of books, used books, and you get auction catalogs. There'd be piles of them on the desk for really cheap, like $5 to $8 each. But in there, in a lot of the catalogs, and you're allowed to look through, would be a situation where somebody sat at the auction and wrote down what it sold for, each piece. Now there's always what you call an upset price, how much they predict or how much they start at or whatever it is, and you can compare the difference. But when you see these numbers, 30,000, 60,000, $1,500,000, it really makes you feel like you're in good company, and that can be you. If you're going to the little art shop in some obscure location and everything's $100, why should you sit up all night creating artwork so someday you can make $100? The third issue that I want to mention that's very motivational is when you go on the computer and you look up those people who handle artwork, valuable artwork, and you look at the art pieces and they don't look like all that much all the time, but those people who are moving it around, installing into galleries and doing restorations, okay, a piece of artwork that you might take for fairly simple, not even as complicated as yours, and yet they're handling it with white gloves and they're respectful about it, they're talking about it, they have a few people for each time they move it to make sure nothing happens, and they're going, ooh, ooh. And you realize that someday that can be your artwork where people are handling it in that way. Right now you're throwing it across the room to get it out of the way for the next piece you're making, but in the meantime, later on, it's going to be respected.